Vincent, the Greek bailout program that has blown off course slightly was pushed back on course this morning. Mm-hmm. Can you explain to the viewers exactly how that was, what concessions there were on both sides?
It was the sort of €40 billion package that Greece is going to get money now, and basically the creditors, which is the European Union, the International Monetary Fund primarily, have agreed to extend the maturities on Greek debt to cut the cost to Greece of paying it back, the interest rates, and just pushing the whole thing further back in terms of repayment, etc., etc.
So in the old days we would have called that a sort of quasi-default, but longer timeline, very low interest rates, probably take a haircut actually if you work it out.
I mean, this is essentially a second default by Greece. In return, Greece has promised to reach a primary surplus by 2015 and do all kinds of reforms, etc., that will supposedly turn the economy around. That's essentially the package as agreed overnight.
Right, and that is now agreed because there's still some shenanigans with payment time periods from the IMF, isn't that right? But we think they'll be resolved.
Yeah, there are. I mean, the big difference between the IMF and the European Union has been resolved in terms of the solvency question for Greece. The IMF wanted far more progress on addressing the solvency issue and getting, and insisting that the sort of maximum debt level should be 120% of GDP. And the Europeans have come around a bit to that and said, okay, fine. So they have compromised on 124%, which is a kind of suspiciously precise number that they have agreed on as the debt to GDP ratio in 2020. I mean, it's a long way out. It's an enormous sum still. Lots could go wrong.
And you and I were looking at the GDP numbers for Greece just before we came down here, and still very much in what some people call an austerity trap. I guess the big question is, can Greece now get out of that trap in a way to start paying this money back and getting itself out of the mess?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the most telling facts I've come across in the last couple of hours has been that the Greek economy today is a fifth smaller than it was when Greece got its first bailout package in May 2010. And all of the assumptions that were made in May 2010, which were supposed to be sort of cast iron and guaranteed, have all been thrown out the window because of that, because Greece has been in a profound depression ever since. There's no sign of that ending. And until that turns around, you can set whatever sort of figures you want and whatever targets you want, they're not going to be met.
And just last left field question, are there any exogenous factors that may come out of the blue and help Greece, like the rest of the Eurozone recovering or a massive global recovery? Is there any hope of them being...
I mean, obviously, if the Eurozone economy starts to growing very, very fast again, then Greece will definitely be pulled along in behind that. The trouble is that Greece's economy has been hollowed out a great deal now. A lot of the sort of manufacturing and the kind of industrial economy that was in Greece is no longer really up to scratch. It's already 5 years out of date. It requires massive amounts of modernisation. The convertibility risk of investing in Greece is still far too high for anybody to come in and sort of want to invest in that kind of thing. Tourism and the kind of offshore shipping and et cetera. I mean, that's carrying on regardless, but that has nothing to do with the Greek economy, so to speak. That's just foreign exchange earning for Greece.
So anyway, a very good development today, but still many, many years of tough times ahead for the Greek people. Thank you very much.